I've got a big guest for you, you guys, today. Gerard Adams, also known as the Millennial Mentor. He is a thought leader, serial entrepreneur, angel investor, philanthropist, and get this, he became a self-made multi-millionaire at 24 years old. In 2015, he sold EliteDaily.com for $50 million. This guy is no joke. He is the real freaking deal. And I'm so excited for you guys to learn from him today because in this episode, he is breaking down strategies like step by step. So this is definitely an episode where you're going to want to have a pen, paper, maybe even your laptop if you're faster at typing, because you're going to learn a lot. Gerard is on a mission to inspire other millennials to leverage their passions and create the successful lifestyles that they've always dreamed of. And by the way, Gerard was not born into this. He literally started from the bottom and now he is here. He's made it his mission to get to the top, doing what he was passionate about and giving a voice to his generation. So I am so thrilled. I am ecstatic for you guys to meet this master mentor, this super conscious leader, and amazing soul who I am blessed to call a dear friend of mine, Mr. Gerard Adams. Gerard.
Yes.
I am so excited
I am too.
to be sitting here with you. I literally consider you a brother, and I just think you're incredible. I love everything that you're up to in the world. I love everything that you stand for. What you've created is just beyond inspirational. So thank you so much for coming on my show.
Absolutely. You know, I've been holding back from doing a podcast for a little while. Sometimes you kind of have to do more of that inner work, and you know, it's Q4 right now, so I've been like all in with the team, building the business, like focusing on, you know, what our KPIs are and the goals and leading the team and growing the team. And it's like, I was like, all right, you know, I kind of need to take a step back from, you know, being on other people's podcasts right now until next year. But I was like, I consider you a sister as well. And I, like I said earlier off camera, and I'll say it now, I just think that you're one of the most powerful women leaders that I'm seeing right now in the world. Like not even just in this space, but like just showing up, you know, showing up for people and just transcending, you know, documenting your journey as you're growing and just leading, you know, your community and elevating them to, you know, all new levels of consciousness and helping them to like become magnetic and build their brands and lead their movement. So, you know, thank you for your work. I really honor you for stepping up.
That coming from you means so much. So thank you. I receive. Yes. Thank you, brother.
Yes.
And, you know, we're in this together. And that's what I love. Like, so you guys, we were talking before this about how in alignment Gerard and I are. And so I'm just excited to flow with you.
Yeah.
And I would love to kick things off. I mean, they're going to go stalk you after this, obviously, if they don't already follow you, okay? But can you share your story, like where you came from?
You sure? I don't know if we have enough time for all of that. It's been it's been 18 years. It's been like, I look back and I'm just like, I can't believe it's been 18 years. Like, that's a long time to be an entrepreneur. Wow. It's just like, I got to say, like, I just went to a breathwork class 2 days ago. I do this like it's part of my like regular routine on a weekly basis to go to a place that I love here in LA. I just moved to LA, and this place Unplugged that has these amazing breathwork classes and meditation classes and sound healing. And my sister just opened up a meditation place in New Jersey, which shout out to Monica and what she's doing with her Zen studio. But when I was in the breathwork class, like, you know, I got so, sometimes still, like after 18 years, I'm still, you know, you get caught up in the work, you get caught up in judging yourself or feeling like it's, you know, you haven't done enough, there's not enough time, there's more goals, more things to do, more things to conquer. And, you know, even sometimes that doubt that sits back in, you know, at all levels of growth, like at all levels of what you consider success, that sits in. And for me, it's, you know, I'm human, like that happens. And this week I was getting a little overwhelmed again. Q4 is coming, and through my breath work, I just had the most profound experience where, like, I remembered to just thank myself for how far I've come. And this one moment came to me, which is like, I live at the top of Runyon Canyon, and I hike on a daily basis. And that day, I got to the peak, and this young man just stopped me and was just like, "Yo, Gerard." I was like, "Yeah." And he's just like, "Yo, oh my God, just, you know, gave me so much gratitude and just poured his, like, you know, his appreciation, and told me he moved from Chicago here and he's chasing his dreams. And he, you know, that moment happened, and I took it in and I received it. But then, you know, you go on back to the work, and, you know, and the rest of the day I didn't really pull that back up. But in the breathwork class, it came up, and I remembered his, you know, looking in his eyes and the hug he gave me, and that moment thanking myself for how far every day showing up, how far I've come. And it's just like, you know, I'm proud, you know, like ultimately, like I know there's a hell of a lot more work to do, both spiritually, you know, from a health perspective, and trying to get into the healthiest version of me. From a business perspective, I always want to continue to rise. Yeah. But it's been like an unbelievable 18 years for sure. Well, I don't know where you want to start.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say, because I love that you just, thank you for going there, because I was oddly enough just talking about this today, the importance of being present and really taking it all in, because we get lost in the grind and the go, and we're talking about this do, that we're not being, and really fully taking in like how far we've come and where we are right now in this moment, how this moment is enough.
100%.
You know, and it's beautiful. So
so if you're listening to this right now, I want you to take a deep breath right now with us, and I want you to just thank yourself for doing the work, for how far you've come, and like really genuinely be present to that. Can we do that?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. 1, 2, 3, let's breathe in. Hold it. Release. Cool. So if you're here with us right now, be present and thank you. My gratitude, you know, thank you for being here, Ashley, and bringing me on.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have you. Cool. And thank you for that. And I'm too a big believer in breath work. So thank you for inviting. This is the first time we've ever done that on the podcast. So thank you for that.
Oh, no doubt.
I love it.
That's what's up.
So I'll kind of share some things. The main thing I want to kind of tap into from your story is you started out, and, you know, I've heard you tell about your dad and how he would say, like, he would pay you to do something, and then you would, like, find other, like, you know, kids in the neighborhood. And, like, right? So I feel like you've had this sort of mentality of an entrepreneur, like, mentality. I'd love for you to share just, and it can be even one story that you remember, like, from your past, from your beginnings, that really is even reflected to where you are today, like something that you've always held true, something that has really led you throughout your entrepreneurial journey to where you are.
Wow. You know, sometimes I have a hard time remembering quotes, and my dad, that's all he's ever done is write quotes and leave them like hidden throughout my house growing up. So I should have like one core one that I go to. But I will say this, like the one thing that's really carried me through, that my father really ingrained in me at a young age, and like it allowed me to kind of tap into just who I am as an individual and as a leader, is just that leadership comes down to your character and your principles and your values, and what you stand for, right? And it's like, for me, I at a young age and throughout my life, like I've tapped into like, what are my values? You know, what are the values that I grew up with? And I continue to re-audit those values throughout my entire life. And then like my character, and like what was character to me is just like how you treat people when they can't do anything for you, you know? So like I've always put other people like in front of me, like, and sometimes of course they end up working for me, but it's because like I genuinely care about them. I genuinely sit with them, and it's not like do this job. It's like, let me understand you. Let me understand what you value. What are your goals? What's your mission in life? And how can my mission and your mission align? And then how can we work together towards that common mission? And through us doing this together, you know, I elevate you, you elevate me, and make it like a win-win. And that's how I've been able to build unbelievable teams, is like tapping into them, tapping into their consciousness, you know, tapping into their values, tapping into like what their desires, what their wants, what their dreams, what their mission is, and then kind of like finding that. And now all of a sudden it's not about me, I'm making it about you. And now it's like, okay, cool, like he genuinely cares, and I do. Like I have legitimately throughout my entire career, I just care about helping people succeed.
Yeah.
Like I really do, you know, like that lights me up. Like I get so excited, you know, and I want that for my entire team. I want that for all my clients. And, yeah.
I love that you're helping people identify what matters to them and identifying their values. And I love that you brought values in, because I feel like so many of us, I mean, I was just talking with someone the other day. I'm like, what are your values? Like, what do you value? And she's like, you know, but it's like, that is important because those are the principles through which we live life. And they actually, we talked about fulfillment, right? If we're living in alignment with our values, our core values, then that's fulfillment. We're fulfilled, you know what I mean? But if we're living in a life where we're not honoring ourselves, our values, our mission, our vision, and a lot of times we do that because I feel like we're not clear on it. We don't take the time to get clear. So I love that you're supporting people with gaining that clarity and feeling on purpose in what they do. So important.
Yeah. And like, trust me when I tell you, like, if you're listening to this and you're like, that's probably me. Like, I really don't even know like what my purpose is. I don't know what my values are. Like I've, you know, like I said, I've consistently, I've re-asked myself the tough questions and like kind of had to like dig deep. And some people that I work with and clients even, they'll, you know, that is the case. Like they're not clear yet. And like, you know, I just say like, that's okay. You know, like let's, you know, and that's where like the work is, right?
Yeah,
like now all of a sudden, like, let's get into that. Let's dive deeper.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, guys. So Gerard is like a genius when it comes to personal branding, and like, I mean, the successes that he's created himself in his career and like his entrepreneurial journey has been amazing. And so like, I'm really excited to really dive into that and say like, I would love to hear. I'm in personal branding. I'm super passionate about it, and I know
you're crushing it.
Thank you.
You're crushing it. Magnetic as fuck.
I love it.
I don't know if I curse on in here, so you meant to bleep that.
All good. All good.
Okay.
We are good. Okay, so I'd love to hear you were telling me about your pyramid, your personal branding pyramid. And I know a lot of people listening, a lot of my audience are aspiring entrepreneurs. They want to create a brand, and they are typically, most of them are in service-based business, meaning they're the face of their brands. Yeah. Right? So can you talk into your yeah, for pyramid? Sure, like the personal brand pyramid. I mean, for me, what I will say is like, there's never been a better time than now. Like, who would have thought like us as entrepreneurs, like now with the power of social media, can just like, we can leverage our story and leverage what we've been through in our experience and like go out there and build movements, right? And build businesses that are sustainable, profitable, predictable, you know, truly creating real impact and fulfillment. I mean, it's like, I'm living my best life right now. Like like having a personal brand has been the best thing that I've ever done in my career. And I've done every industry. I've invested in so many different industries. I've built so many different companies. And I thought Elite Daily was like the freaking best journey of my life. But having a brand, like, it's just created so many unbelievable relationships. It has touched so many people's lives that, you know, like, and, you know, and frankly, it's also brought the most consistent income stream that I've ever had, you know. And I have like, you always hear like all the different, you know, millionaire kind of tips of like having 7 income streams. And, you know, I just think having a personal brand is like a no-brainer. If you want fulfillment, you want to create impact. I mean, it just drives so much, you know, awareness to your business. Because you were at the source of everything. Yeah. So it's you that's creating all of these businesses anyways. So totally, it's like your personal brand evolves with you. Which is beautiful. For sure. And the best thing is like, we're past the time of like needing 1 million followers. Like, you really just don't, right? It doesn't matter. You don't need to have this like massive following. I remember when I first started mine, I was like so caught up in trying to keep up with being the next Gary Vee, or trying to keep up with like all these huge influencers that were growing their brand, and you get caught in the comparing, and you get caught in following everybody else, and you know, that's like, you know, it's like draining. You know what I mean? It's like just sucks all the joy out of everything that you do. 100%. It's like, really understanding how to dial in your niche, dial in like what you represent, you know, what does your brand stand for, and commit to that fully. So like the first part of the pyramid is like being a generalist, and that's what I think a lot of people do, you know, thinking that like, I want to build this brand, I want to build it fast, I want to build this huge audience, right? So like the way I look at it is like, if you were to draw a circle, right, and you're just
you know, your energy is going here, 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 here. You're giving people advice on so many different things that really you're just like, you're trying to, you know, you're trying to reach someone and you're really reaching no one, because people don't really understand, like, what do you actually do? What are you an expert in? You know,
you're not specific. You're not even speaking to a specific person.
Right.
You're just like, you're trying to cast a big net to catch them all.
Right. And, you know, that's okay when you start building a bigger following.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, if you really want to, like, how do you get those first 1,000 true raving fans, right? And it's like, dial it in. So it's like, you don't want to be a generalist, you know, you don't want to be the Me Too person either. Like, I think a good friend of mine, Peter Voog, he said something recently that resonated with me. And he was like, you don't want to be just another. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you don't want to be just another real estate agent or just another fitness trainer, just another, like, you know, maybe a spiritual kind of coach and healer, or a life coach, like just another, you know what I mean? You want to be like the go-to. And I saw that, and, you know, and I was like, yo, that's really what it is, right? Like, you want to become, so you don't want to be a generalist, right? You want to work your way up. And like the next thing is like becoming a specialist, being known for something, like really dialing in what your expertise really genuinely is, getting specific, right? Starting to become a specialist. It's so important for you to start to like really build your brand, get known, you know, for your experience, you know, what your expertise truly is. And then you walk up as far as like becoming the authority. The next part of that pyramid is like becoming the authority. How many times have we heard like become the authority in your niche, right? So what we work on with our clients is like, how do you actually step into becoming an authority? And that's where I kind of dive into, like, you start breaking down pillar content. Like, this for you is pillar content, like how you're building out your podcast. You know, another part of your pillar content that helps set you up as an authority is the SPC, your social proof club, right? Like, how are you getting it? So you just do this on your Insta story. It was brilliant, right? And you having your clients that are going out and like in first person talking about how you're getting results for them, what the experience is like working with you, and how powerful was that for you? Oh my gosh, that was amazing. And that's so many people don't ask for that. I mean, there's so much. I want to unpack a little bit of what you said. Sure. It's so good. It's so good. I hope you guys are taking notes on this. And he's so right. I mean, Gerard, it's like you get to pick a niche. And what happens? What happens when people feel like they need to pick a niche? Oh my God. The fear, like, of just being like, wait, no, I have to pick one thing. But what if one thing? One thing. But what if I don't want to do that thing forever? What if that thing doesn't work? What if, you know what I mean? That happens. Like, where people are just like, they get scared of it. I literally had a girl come to me and say that, like, well, what if I don't want to do what she was doing, a certain type of coaching? Right. What if I don't want to do this forever? Yeah. You know, I'm like, well, that's the part of a personal brand. And we talked about it. It's evolving with you. I mean, did you know I used to be in health and fitness? Oh, wow. I used to have a 14-day booty challenge. Oh, dope. It might still be up, 14daybootychallenge.com. Let's go. It might still be there. Yeah. But like, see what I'm saying though? And like now, like I am this person. I've evolved. My brand has evolved with me. Right. You know, see what I'm saying? Exactly. So documenting. So for those you're evolving. And for those of you listening, like, hear that. You know, you get to commit, because that's what's going to bring the results and the like cult-like following. I mean, you know, the loyal following. And then just trust that you will be guided wherever you need to go, and they're not going to leave you. I mean, we're multidimensional human beings. You know, it's not like they're just following you for one thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So 100%. Anyways, I just wanted to no, for sure. So and good. Like becoming, you know, part of becoming the authority, like I break it down as something called S4. Write this down, right? And the first thing is like, you really want to get clear as to what your story is, right? Like really getting clear. Like the first S is like, what's your story that relates to that ideal audience, that ideal niche that you're looking to attract, right? And then you really want to just like tap into like the solution of, you know, what they're going through, what you're going through in your life, relating to them, and then really kind of like breaking down specifically, you know, what that problem is that they're facing in their life, and that you ultimately have like a solution to help that you've discovered in your life to help them get through that. The next thing is being scalable, right? So like, now that you're dialing in your niche, you want to go from not just like wanting to work with one person, but is this a group of individuals out there that you can then pull in to work with you, and it's actually a scalable business, right? So, you're working with, understanding, identifying what your story is, how that relates to that ideal niche and that audience. You're providing a solution for that audience, right? That can get them results. You're ultimately looking at how it's scalable, right? Is this for like a group of people out there in the world that are looking for this solution? And then that helps you get clear as to like who you're serving. So if right now you're listening to this or watching this, create 3 circles, right? And just like your story, the solution, is it scalable? And then like right in the middle of there is like, once you figure out who that is, like that's who you want to serve in your marketplace.
I love that. Yeah. That's good. So a question for you on that. So scalable, can we talk about that?
Sure.
So what for you, like if you have someone who's say a person or a coach, right? So a coach of some niche that person chooses and commits to, then what are like the first steps to go about scaling your business?
Yeah. So first of all, you don't want to just be focused. Like a lot of people at first want to think about scale. So I just first want to say that it's a word that's like thrown around right now, right? Like everybody wants a profitable and scalable type of business. Yeah. But before you actually can scale, you do have to identify like who it is that you're serving. And I do recommend that before you actually scale, start to actually work with clients, like start to actually go out there, create the content, attract, you know what I mean? Like start working on the story and working with clients, which I see, a lot of people in the space, like they want to scale, but it could be detrimental to you to try to scale early. So if that's the first thing is like, don't get so caught up on like everybody wants to make more money. You want to touch more lives. You want to create more impact. It's exciting. We all want to scale, but a lot of people out here are trying to scale on quicksand, and they don't actually have everything.
The foundation built out.
And the first part of the foundation is like actually getting results for your clients, right? Start working one-on-one, start actually like getting to know your customers, speaking to them, doing like kind of like and that goes with any business, right? Like any business, regardless if you're a coach, consultant, but even when I coach like, startups and people that are building an idea, I'm like, you have to create what's called like an MVP, right? A minimum viable product, right? Before you scale in any industry, right? It's what is your MVP? To an MVP, what that really is like testing out your market and making sure you actually have something that people want, right? So it's like, I think that's like the very first step before even scaling is like making sure that your methodology, your program, your, what you're using, your framework, your system, all of that is actually something that is going to create long-term sustainable results for your clients first and foremost.
Yeah, I love that you said that. It's so true because we can go like if we don't have something that if we spend all this time building something and then we put it out there, it ends up that nobody wants it. Right? We could have saved ourselves all of that hassle, all of that work if we would have first tested and seen, even asked and polled our audience, hey, is this something that you would be interested in? Is this something you would buy? Is this something you would invest in?
Yeah.
And that is creating the, the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's edifying your idea.
Right. 100%. And you just said a word that's like is like really, really important. And we say this to all of our clients. We say like, repeat this question. And I want everyone who's listening and watching this to write this down. I am an investor. Write that down. I am an investor. Because ultimately, for a long time, I like couldn't explain like who I am, like what I do, right? Serial entrepreneur. I've done so many different industries, so many different things. Now I'm like coaching. I do personal branding, like so many different things that and I'm a Sagittarius that doesn't want to be put in a box. So like it makes it even more difficult. But ultimately what I realized is like, I'm an investor. You are an investor. So like what you're doing right now is investing. You're investing in a relationship. You're investing into a connection. You're investing into your brand. You're investing into your clients. You're investing into your audience. You're investing into your business, right? Every day, your rituals, your routine, you're investing. So it's switching your mentality. Everything you do, every step you make, every choice you make is an investment. And the same thing, not only for you, but for your clients. Everyone that we work with, we make them write that down because not only we want to switch their mindset, but ultimately, what do we want to do? We want them to to invest in us because we're going to save them time. We're going to save them attention. We're going to save them money. You know what I mean? We're going to save them energy because we're going to show them how to do things more effectively, you know, and take what I've learned over so many years and so much time, energy, attention, and money I've spent to figure out these proven systems. So I want you to like really think about that, because I feel that's something that, you know, I've learned over time. It's like you're an investor.
Yeah, I love that so much. That's so good. I was getting chills when you were saying it. It's so true. And we must, like, even just with ourselves, like placing bets on ourselves, placing bets on our business all the time. It's so important, because if we're not doing that, if we're not investing, then how do we expect someone else to invest in us?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just like it goes both ways.
100%.
Yeah.
And how do you want, you know, an ROI, right? Like, you know, everything I look at in my life is like, it'll help you make decisions, right? Like everything where you are in your life right now is in direct correlation to the choices that you make today, right now, in this moment, right? Like that's what allowed you to get to Bali. That's allowed us to meet. That's what allowed us to build a relationship. That's what allowed us to now do this podcast. And who knows what'll come from this after this, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's like every step you take, like think of it like, is this an investment in my life that's going to elevate me in what I say is like the HP4, because I want everyone to be like a high performer. So for me, it's like broken down into 4 things. Is this going to elevate me mentally? Is this going to elevate me physically? Is this going to elevate me spiritually? And is this going to elevate me financially? Right? If it is, like, then do that shit.
I love that. So spiritually, financially, physically,
mentally, physically, spiritually, financially.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And that's a good question to ask ourselves. Like in each moment, every choice we make. And again, that's kind of going back to our like core values, making sure that every choice we make is in alignment with our core values, our vision for our life, our mission of what we're set out to do, what we stand for. You know, over and over again, checking in with ourselves. It's so important. That's how you become like right now, I feel like I'm this like maniac on a mission.
Hell yeah.
Do you ever feel that way? It's
like
I'm just like this maniac on a mission. And it's because I've taken the time, I've invested the time, I've invested the energy into getting clear. Yeah. You know, and to really like being conscious about the choices I'm making in each moment. Yeah,
100%. And you know, it's a big thing is like once you do that work first, right? You tap into like what I say, the leader within, and you're like mastering that, which you have done and you're continuing to do. You start to then really audit everything around you. So like how many of us have had those toxic relationships, right? And it's like not just the toxic relationships that are the friendships or the person that your partner, your life partner, all those things like that could be toxic, but also in business, back to business, right? You know, it's like you start saying yes to clients that you shouldn't be serving because you're in a scarcity mindset. And you're like saying yes to different people, and all of a sudden you're serving all these different people that are not your ideal client. And now all of a sudden what happens now, that is now become a depleting investment. You now are not helping them. You're not helping yourself. It's depleting your energy. It's depleting your attention. It's depleting your time. It's depleting your money. Totally. You know, all those things. So it's like, again, just think like Warren Buffett.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. And I love that you just said that, because like these are tough decisions that we get to make. When we're committed to a vision, like we get to choose who we surround ourselves with every single day. And that has a lot to do with, because if you have people in your life who are not in alignment with what you're creating, that's going to create dissonance, and that's going to create tension, and it's going to be so much harder for you to get there, because you're going to have this person in your ear that's saying all the reasons why it won't work, or what are you doing stupid, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh. How many of us know, like, comment right now if like this is resonating with you in the sense that like it's all energy, right? Like it's crazy, because it's like you are like the people you surround yourself with. You are like this energy. Like it's just crazy because it all just plays into like your subconscious as well, right? Like all of a sudden you start letting that energy in, you know, that these things, and you start making decisions based on, you know, that scarcity or that doubt or that fear or like what other people think, the FOPO, fear of other people's opinions. You know, all of a sudden you just start to, you'll notice like those doors are closing. The universe is like, like, all right, you think you're getting there, but all right, you're gonna have to wait. So it's like, you know.
I love when you get like that. You're a little, you think you get there.
Yeah. Gosh, how many of my clients make fun of my Jersey accent sometimes. Today I was like, you guys are gonna get water bottles, like water. Like, yeah, water.
I love when it comes out. No, and I love that you touched on scarcity too. I feel like for me that was a big one, and still is. It still creeps up.
Yeah.
Like I used to have a mantra. Now I don't know if I'm going to remember exactly, but it basically said what you said. It was, I will not take on a client out of fear of not getting another one, out of fear of not making enough, out of fear of, you know, not hitting my income goal. Because the clients you attract in when you're in that space, guys, oh my gosh, like I had some of the most, I love them. And it was exhausting as all hell.
Yeah.
And it's because I wasn't being true to myself.
Wow.
I wasn't
huge
being
realization.
true. Yeah, I wasn't being in a lot, and it was because of scarcity. That was 100%. What I was thinking. The not enough.
And remember, you are the leader of your movement, right? So, like, one of the biggest things, biggest variables of why I have been able to hit multiple 8-figure businesses in my life is culture. How are you building culture? How are you building culture within your company, with your team, raising their consciousness, right? You are a reflection. How are you making sure that they are in that high state of consciousness and mindset, right? Spiritually aligned to that core mission, and you know, also your customers, right? Like you bring in someone like that out of scarcity. What do you think that's going to do to the culture of your community and all your customers and clients, right? It's like, it's crazy. So for me, it's just become massive because I just realized, like, when I make those decisions, I'm not just making them for myself anymore. I'm making them for like my entire team that you know, that are working hard, that are with me, and all my other customers and clients. So yeah. That's huge. We get to honor ourselves and our mission and our values. And so I invite you guys listening to take the space, take the time, get clear, like write it out, get so grounded in it. The more grounded you are, the easier it will be for you to make the decision and be okay with what happens. Right. Commit. And it's okay. Yeah. Like, because they might not like that. If you are like giving someone the boot, people will not like it. Yeah, they will not like that. The thing is when you're grounded, and you know, it's like that, you've heard that thing, I talk about this a lot, the blue frog. If someone come up and called you a blue frog. Oh yeah. Yeah. And you're like, okay, whatever. And then but if someone came up to you and was like, you're selfish or whatever, if you have this deep down fear that you're selfish, then that's going to hit a chord for you, and that'll be a hard pill for you to swallow. If you know deep down you're grounded and you've been working on yourself and you know you're not selfish, when someone comes up and calls you selfish, just like the blue frog, it's just going to drip off your back like water. So you get to be grounded in your intention and your values and everything you stand for, because then you become unshakable. Then you become resilient, which is actually segueing perfectly. By the way, I didn't touch on the last part of the pyramid, so I apologize. But by the way, we got a promoter over here. Yeah, we got to promote him. Yeah, he's got the squirrel. Yeah. Shiny object. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yes. What's the final piece? Oh, so yeah. And then the final piece, right, is like, okay, so now, you know, you're becoming that authority, right? You're aligned with these values. You're aligned with your story, your solution. It's scalable. You understand who you're serving. And you're using all these things that we just talked about, the social proof club, right? Your pillars of content. You're going out there and teaching. You start to become at the top of the pyramid, which is what I call the trusted advisor, right? And that's what you want ultimately, right? Because when you're a trusted advisor, right, it's beyond just a coach. It's beyond, they trust you so much. And what happens is people start coming to you. You become magnetic. You're no longer going out and looking for those clients. They are coming to you. And then what happens is when you're a trusted advisor, right? Like, first of all, your circle of influence is, you know, people notice, right? Like, you know, once I started to go and move from an authority and move my way up after doing all the work that we're doing currently, now all of a sudden I'm like, you know, I'm rubbing shoulders and I'm collaborating with, you know, Mel Robbins and Jay Shetty and all my friends, and Ashley Hann and all these unbelievable other authorities in their niche and trusted advisors that are out there that are impacting their communities and building movements. Yep. And when you're a trusted advisor, there's 3 core things that you need to do, okay, that differentiate you. One, you need to expose. Okay, it's a really important word. You need to expose the people that are out there. And I mean this in 2 ways. One, your clients. And you have to, like, literally, and I call this it's the empathy marketing method. Like, and do this in an empathetic way. What do you mean by expose? So see, it's like a really kind of it gets under the skin, right? Yeah. But what happens is like, I think it's Warren Buffett that talks about this quote that, like, when the tide rises, you see who's naked. And what happens is like, in my opinion, what you need to do is, like, you need to be able to call call it out like it is, you know, like, and a lot of your clients that you need to help them and not do it in a, you know, you're not flipping it. You're not trying to, come at your clients like that. You want to actually help them. You want to be empathetic to them, to say like, listen, like we got to keep it real and like understand truly what the pain really is. Get down to the truth. Like, we're going to have to dig deep. And I've been there too, right? But it's like, you got to expose them because otherwise they're not going to go through the transformation. And when you're a trusted advisor, you're not in the industry of just helping people get like, you know, like, just, you know, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want them to have exponential growth, and that's transformation. You got to get under there. You got to expose them. They're going to feel naked. But guess what? It's going to happen on the other side of that. Change.
So much.
Impact. Transformation. And that's what you want from your clients. The next thing you want to do with the empathy is you want to educate. And, you know, like anything, right? You need to know and understand. And like, this is what I'm going through now is like mastery from an education standpoint. And it's just like study and understand the frameworks. Everything is changing so fast, especially in our space with technology today. So you need to become, as a trusted advisor, an expert at studying technology, an expert at studying what's working, the frameworks. Constantly, because you need to be the trusted advisor that's bringing that to your clients, right? You have to bring them those tools, those systems. And then the last thing is you need to entertain them. You know, you're a trusted advisor, you know, I just realized like you got to continue to have that real connection with them, know to entertain them. And like, actually, like for me, that's why I'm doing a lot of offline right now, bringing them in, creating a space where not only is it a container for everybody, but it's like, it's a real experience. And also it's why my content is the way it is, like docuseries. And, you know, I'm trying to be more and more vulnerable and funny. And I think you do a great job at that. Yeah. You know, like actually being the human.
Well, that's what I've noticed about your content too, though. And it works, guys. Like, I mean, it's so funny. All of us, we have this kind of fear. And I know you probably still experience it from time to time where, hey, if I share this, if I expose this about me, if I'm vulnerable about this, well, what if they won't like me anymore? What if they'll reject me? What if they, you know, think less of me? You know, actually, the opposite tends to happen. And by the way, the people who think less of you ain't your tribe.
Facts.
They ain't your tribe. They just ain't your tribe. So, I mean, you just pulled some weeds out of your beautiful garden. Like, that's what happened.
So, like, you know? So important.
So true. So, like, but it's true. And actually, the opposite happens is you end up freaking deepening your connection with your people so much. It has every time that I have shared something that I was so scared. Like, I remember when I was about to hit the post button and I'm like I don't know if I could do this. And then I did it, and then it was like just deepening that connection. Expose, like, just be vulnerable and share yourself with like everything. Share it. You know, the three.
Remember, it's a personal brand. So but that means it's your personality. That's why it's called a personal brand. So ultimately, like, tap into your personality, like, show it. And I think that's like, ultimately, that's where I feel like finally we're seeing the shift in social media. Finally, for so long, perfectionism was the thing, right? Like filters and you're just seeing it. It's like, it's changing now. Like, people are seeing through the bullshit. Like, everyone wants real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want to see the truth. So it's like, that is your differentiator, right? Like, you'll have your unique mechanisms as far as your systems and how you coach. But like, the biggest differentiator that's going to help you grow your audience is your personality. Like, ultimately tapping into that and learning. And that just takes like the confidence, that takes repetition, you know, and takes you like, you're flexing a muscle.
I mean, it really is. It is a muscle. Like, it was really freaking uncomfortable. It gets more and more, it's still uncomfortable, but it's less excruciating the more you do it, because it's a muscle you're flexing. It's really, for me, a vulnerability muscle for myself. But like exactly what Gerard said, you guys, we are not one-dimensional human beings, you know. We're multi-dimensional. There's many components and aspects to us, and we get to share them all, because that's what people connect with. That's a human. You know, it's like, I asked this question the other day, is like, okay, is it okay for women to, you know, dress feminine and sexy and still be like in business? So is that okay? Well, I think personally, with personal brands, like, whatever, like, you feel, whatever
you just did a post like that.
Yeah,
that was dope. That was real. I was like, oh, okay.
Well,
like, that's
true.
what's up. Like, yeah, like own it. That's what it is.
Yeah,
like, own
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Like who you are. I mean, you're talking about Gary Vee. He shows up to all of his things in like, I think the same outfits, like a beanie, and he's got his t-shirt and his, his
Love
jeans
that.
and sneakers.
My boy E.T., the same thing. Like, everyone owns their brand, like owns it, like, yeah, own it.
I love that. I love that so much. And it's so important. And you don't need to look a certain way. Stop shitting on yourself. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Like, that is just going to keep you further from your actual true potential of what you can experience.
Yeah.
So I want to go into this because we were talking about fulfillment earlier. And we talked about values and all those things. Can you share your moment? You were telling me, how you got all the cars, all the things, and then can you share that with
my
them?
awakening?
Yeah.
And there's been multiple, but I'll tell you the big one that happened to me. And it was like a combination of a few things. So I was blessed to have a dream come true with, if you don't know, like I was the co-founder in building a company called EliteDaily.com, and it's still around today. It's actually an unbelievable publication for women, just tapping into entertainment and health and business and just culture, like everything that's happening right now. And we built it from an idea to 200 employees, and I sold the company for $50 million to the Daily Mail in basically going into 2016, at the end of 2015. And you would think that would have been it for me. Like, I was so happy. My accountant was like, hey, you're getting eight figures wired to your bank account. Like, move to Florida and save on state income tax and and enjoy. And I remember I went with my girlfriend at the time and picked out this beautiful penthouse, ocean views, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And I remember being on that balcony and like looking out at that ocean and thinking like, this is it, like this is the moment, what I was waiting for in my career. And I had this like moment with God where it was just like, no, you're meant for, like, there's so much more that you can do with this. Like, there's a reason why this happened. And this was the second time that and the first time that I had made 8 figures, I lost it all. And I was like this egoic individual with cars and everything. Like, everything was like just from the ego, like, and I lost it all, and God took it all away from me, and like, whether the universe, God, what you believe in, it just like, for me, like, it was taken away from me. And so this time around, when I was on that balcony, I was like, I'm not meant to be here. Like, I have too much to give to the world. So at that point in time, I was like, I want to show what it truly means to be a leader. And even, they say like when someone comes into money, you see their true character. So I decided to move to Newark, New Jersey, where my grandparents and my parents were raised, where my church is, and build an incubator there and transform a neighborhood, putting an art gallery, and decided to build an incubator where I was serving entrepreneurs in 12-week programs, and I was supporting inner city children, middle school and high school kids, teaching them what I was like. I just really feel that, the world we live in right now really needs leaders. I really feel that ultimately, we talked about this earlier, I'm like, we need superheroes. Like, we need the real life Avengers right now with what's going on with the environment, and for me, what's really important is not just like the environment and the planet, but also like from an education, right? Yeah. And not enough youth is learning. Like, if it takes us this long to realize the power of consciousness and the power that we have within our mind and our spirit, why isn't this talked about in school? Emotional intelligence. If EQ is more important than IQ, how come EQ is not taught in school? Like, I know. Financial literacy. I graduated school. I didn't know anything about like how to manage my finances or how to invest or how to save or any of these really like these things. It was built like I needed to go get a job.
Yes.
So like for me, I felt this calling of I need to go and help evolve the education space, help these children that are out there, young bucks like me that ended up getting caught up selling drugs, getting caught up like hustling, joining gangs, like, going to jail, getting killed, all these things, you know, because they're lacking role models, they're lacking education, they're lacking opportunities to like realize the power that they have within them. So I went and did that, dedicated my life to that. The nonprofit is still around today. I definitely need volunteers. Please, anyone that wants to volunteer to help come and teach these kids. We have a program called Day in the Life, and we take the kids through an 8-week program, figuring out what they're passionate about, teaching them about entrepreneurship, having them collaborate and work with other students. And then towards the end of the program, we give them an externship to go and have a day in the life with an entrepreneur in a business of what they're passionate about. And then we ask them, you know, how the experience was, and we celebrate them, and they go on a real job interview to know what that's like. So we need volunteers for teachers or entrepreneurs that want to create this experience. And I need leaders that want to bring this program nationwide and around the world. Right now, I've been able to get it through Newark, New Jersey, but it's hard. We need to scale to other schools around the nation that need this for other kids. So definitely can use that. So my realization was that first, but then I don't want to hog the mic, but then I went through like a spiritual, I went through like another level of awakening that's been happening over the last couple years.
Yeah, and I've witnessed some of it. I mean, I love that you created that. I mean, you've taken, like, you had all the success and then you paid it forward, and I want to see more people do that. And that was actually one of my goals for 2019.
Oh my God, and you did it.
Yeah, I did.
I saw you.
I picked like a bunch of them, and I was like, I don't know which one. And then what I really want to do. I love
the one you chose.
Okay, and you know, I'm really great. Like that was great, but I know there's even a next level for me. Like I do, because I want to actually go somewhere and physically, like how you're with these kids.
Yeah, that's
freaking amazing feeling. That's something else, right? So I want to do that. I want to find something that I'm really passionate about and give back, like, and be there physically in the energy in the space.
Okay, like, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Come help with a class, you know? But like one thing that I want you all to just think about, if you're listening to this still, thank you for your time and attention and energy. But, you know, think about this in a way that how can you incorporate cause into your business, into your brand? That's the next phase, right? You know, it's just so important. You know, I think like my spiritual growth had me realize the importance of this, you know, because so much of our life, there's 4 phases. There's the victim phase, so many people that are in, and it happens to all of us. It's for us. We realize that it's all for us, right? We realize that. The next phase is the manifest stage. That's when you're like, yo, you're hustling. You're like, okay, it's for me. Bet. Let me turn this pain into power. Like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to go and I'm going to try to conquer I'm going to conquer my dreams, my business. I'm going to start doing the work. And then you start all of a sudden, because now you're you're changing your beliefs, changing your values, changing your actions, things start to happen.
Focusing your energy.
Then you realize that you're a vessel. And this is where the awakening starts to happen. You realize that, holy crap, it's like, not only do I have control, like I don't have control, but I'm actually able to manifest things, but I'm actually channeling that, and it's bigger than me. Like, I'm a vessel for change. I'm a vessel for impact. And you start realizing it's even bigger than you, and you have the ability to create this movement to ripple effect and change people's lives. And you're this vessel. And then that's kind of what was starting to happen to me after Elite Daily. And, you know, and through my nonprofit Founders. And then what happens is you realize that's where the awakening happens. After the vessel, the final stage is the awakening of realizing we are one. Realizing that love is the religion, right? Like we are all human beings. Yeah. And no matter what you know, whatever your religion, ultimately, I love everyone who has a religion. I love everyone that believes in, you know, their spirituality and the universe, whatever you believe. At the end of it all, we all need to just love each other, know that we are all one. What we do to ourselves is what we do to the world. What we do to the world is what we are doing to ourselves. And that awakening is the final phase of like why we're here, to do God's work.
Oh my gosh, like, I love that you just said that. This is exactly when so whenever someone asks me like what I stand for, I always say love and oneness. Like everything. I mean, I look, religion, what floats your boat, like if that is where you feel connected, that's where you feel love, that's where you are like in your highest, then I'm all for it. What I'm not a stand for though is when religion creates separation.
Oh, right.
So it's like for me, that's what I feel like if I had a religion, my religion would be love. Like love, unconditional oneness for everyone. And so I love that you just, I mean, this is a perfect place to actually end the episode because we're nearing the end. I mean, that is so powerful. And thank you for sharing that. I mean, that was a good breakdown even for me. I haven't heard it put that way. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I love you so much.
And
I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful.
Keep doing it.
I'm so grateful for the stand that you are.
Yes,
like seriously.
Thanks.
And you're creating leaders. And
leaders create leaders.
Yeah, there you go. So where can people connect with you after this? Yeah,
so Leaders Create Leaders actually is my show. It's my movement. So you can check out Leaders Create Leaders on Instagram as well as on YouTube. We are on season 5. We just dropped our latest episode, which is really cool. I dive into a power couple who's following their dreams and just like traveling the world and turning it into a real business, actually activating and working with a lot of these luxurious hotels. And we see all those couples online, but you know, how do they actually genuinely turn it into a real business? And I kind of go behind the scenes and document that. But I've interviewed some of the most influential leaders of our generation. And then me, I'm Gerard Adams on Instagram. So just, shoot me a DM and let me know what you think of this episode, or share it to your Insta story and tag Ashley and I so I can repost it and connect with you. I really appreciate that. And I look forward to just meeting a lot of your community. I'm here to support your community in any way possible.
Thank you so much, Gerard. You're amazing. Thank you for sharing your heart with us and your wisdom with us. I'm so grateful for you.
No doubt.